Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Well Said. I'm so excited you're here because today's episode is going to be very fun and I have a fun guest on the podcast. It's about damn time. Taylor and I were yapping away and it was time to bring in somebody new. Okay. But this episode is going to be for somebody who is probably navigating a change. Remember last week we talked about giving yourself permission to change. This is for someone who's maybe changing their trajectory, maybe overthinking where they are in life right now. They're thinking to themselves, this is not my path. I can feel something feels off. Maybe unsure of their passions and knowing that they're destined for more. So if any of those things identify with you, this is probably an episode that you should be listening to. It is going to be an incredible conversation. I have Aspen King on. She's the co-founder and CEO of Rev Studios, a wellness brand offering a unique blend of reformers, Pilates, and treadmill. It's incredible. I've had many classes there. The teachers are incredible. It's also in my favorite town, Wayzata, which is incredible for the coffee and all the things. So hello. And she's also a founding mentor of the Wealthy Circle. So she is actually our founding mentor. And we get to hear a little bit more from her if you are in the Wealthy Circle with me. So it's going to be really freaking fun. But she's transitioned into wellness entrepreneurship instead of her career in sales where she started. And she's bringing a sharp eye for brand building and execution to everything she touches, because she's actually extremely incredible with brand. And I've worked on many things with her. So I'm very excited for you to know her, to listen and hear from her. And without further ado, Aspen is here with me.
Hello.
Hi. I was like, I have to do my little bio with you, but whenever I do it, whenever I do it, when you're already here, it's always like, hi. I feel like you're watching and anything I say could be misconstrued. I'm like, I know, literally. So I'm like, no, I panic. Perfect. I hope it was.
You nailed it.
Sometimes, your brain goes a little brain fart. People know on here, they know that I'm already dyslexic. So it's tough. Fine. Me reading, hard for me. Mm-hmm. Aspen and I met, we actually probably met way back when.
Yeah, probably college.
Yeah, because I was friends with her now husband in college. And I knew of Aspen. We would cross paths, you and I. But then we actually were like, wait.
I was like, wait, Sid's
cool.
And I are very similar.
Yeah, exactly.
And Joey's like, yeah, Sid's so cool. That makes sense.
Yes. And I'm like,
wow.
Oh yeah. I'm like, that would make sense for us to get along.
Yeah. Checks out.
And then we only kind of got closer within the past year and a half, probably. Yeah. And I don't even know how did that happen.
I feel like I don't remember how we first re-linked up.
I don't either.
Probably Courtney.
Probably. Court Lala, who's been on the podcast from Lens Media.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I feel like it was just we just clicked.
It was organic.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have been through a ton. And I feel like whenever I think about, I have expanders, you're one of them for me, because I just like the way you think. I like the way that you capture content. I like the way that you brand. I like the way that you create.
Thank you.
But I feel like so much of your story is from way before all of this.
Yeah.
Because you're only what? 29?
I'm 30.
30.
Almost 31.
She looks scared.
31 a month from today.
No, you're not. Mm-hmm. I don't believe it.
30 fun.
30 fun. They say it's the best years. Just saying.
So far, so good.
But I'm in your 20s, you did a lot.
Too much.
Yeah. So can you talk to me about your first gig out of college? Because it's important, because it goes into the whole story.
Yes. So when I was graduating college, all of my friends were going to career fairs and finding the next big Fortune 500 company to work for and getting those entry-level sales jobs, getting the entry-level finance jobs, whatever it was. And I just really never saw that path for myself, which is funny because I did end up trying it. But right out of college, I was like, I'm not going to settle for something that I hate going to every single day. And I feel like at the time that was a little weird. People were like, you just got to get a job. But my parents are entrepreneurs. So I kind of grew up in that mindset.
What do your parents do, by the way?
Well, they did. They sold it, but they owned a cookie dough manufacturing
Which is
company.
So freaking funny, because I'm like, what the hell? You probably had the best cookies your whole entire life growing up.
Yeah, chocolate chip cookies are in my blood.
Oh,
they made cookie dough for Cold Stone, Dairy Queen. Yeah, not anymore. So
yeah, well, they sold it. They were doing something.
Yeah, they're
right.
out now. But yeah, they retired pretty young.
So you've been around
goals.
entrepreneurs, by the way. So it's almost like
and they grew up from zero, like absolutely nothing. So I've seen what it takes and I've seen what it can do, which I think having that balance is nice. I didn't just see, oh, look, mom and dad are doing well for themselves. I saw them go from literally nothing to that, which
creating.
Was really inspiring. Obviously, my whole life, my brother and I are very blessed, but also hard work is just like instilled in us.
Yeah, it's who you guys are.
Yeah. So all of my friends were going into these big careers and I was like, I just don't see that path for me. I want to love my everyday. Like that's just kind of been a through line of my whole life, is just like, I want to wake up and be so excited to like live my day, whatever that looks like. And it's changed over time, of course. But I ended up, at the time I was working out at a local fitness brand called Alchemy.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. By the way, are they all closed?
They're still open in Colorado, but all of the Minnesota locations are closed.
Sad.
Yeah. I was working out there and I just, when you find a community of people, you are like, I was obsessed with it. I was like living and breathing Alchemy and I was like, I want to work there, you know, like I love getting in front of people and watching them like perform to the best of their ability and like helping push them a little bit. And I feel like that's where I was a cheerleader my whole life and I cheered in college. And I feel like that sense of that culture is something that I just like consistently am craving.
Yep.
And I found a lot of that at Alchemy and they had no positions for me available. I was not ready to teach. Like I was just like this little girl coming out of college and I was just like, I don't know, this place is cool. And they were like, we have nothing available for you except a part-time front desk job that pays nothing.
Literally pennies. They're
and
like,
you have to be
go.
there from like 5 a.m. to 9 p.m.
The best time of the
and
day.
I said, sign me up. And my parents were like,
yeah, like you got a degree
you
and you're going to do what?
4-year University of Minnesota degree and you're going to work part-time front desk at a fitness studio. And I was like, hell yeah. And I'm the type of person that like, I'm going to do something and then I'm just going to like continue to like elevate in that space. So I ended up teaching. It was full-time. By the end of it, I had a full-time salaried position there that still wasn't making great money. And I was still working insane hours. But at the time I was like, I'm so happy to be doing this every day. And so that some part is literally all that I cared about.
Some part of you was happy because your like age was like, okay, money, not great. Hours.
Exactly.
Not great.
Yep.
But happiness.
I'm in an environment I'm excited to be in.
So you kind of like ding that one. It's like almost like little light bulb moments throughout your journey that I'm just like trying to point out.
So I was there for, I don't even know how long, a while. And a lot of those clients were working at somewhere called Sports Engine, which if there's any Minnesota listeners that have kids that play sports, you're probably familiar with Sports Engine. And they were all like, come work at Sports Engine, come work at Sports Engine. And sales is so funny because everyone like tries to stay away from sales. I love sales. Like I was like the top salesperson at Alchemy. I was like slinging memberships left and right because I was super passionate about it. And I've always said like, if you're passionate about something, you can sell it so easily. If you're not passionate about it, then you feel like the sleazy salesperson that like is trying to shove stuff down people's throats.
We've met them. We know them.
If you're passionate about it, you're not selling. You're just like sharing it with the world.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, okay, I know I can sell. I'm going to go to Sports Engine and see what they have. Okay. So I apply and they're like, we have no positions. Similar through line.
Great timing.
But we have an internship. And I said, hell yeah.
No, you did not.
I
did not know you started there as an intern too.
Yep. I went from full-time fitness, not making great money. But the reason I even was interested in this is because I actually was like, okay, wait, I kind of want the 9 to 5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I want my weekends back. I want my nights back. I want my holidays back.
Which is so fair because the fitness burnout is a real thing.
And I saw the opportunity for money in sales, obviously. And so I said, yeah, sign me up for that internship. So I was the you know, the intern, the movie where it's like the old dude.
Yep.
Yeah, that was me.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
I mean, not really. I was only a year out of college, maybe 2 years out of college, but still like to go to an unpaid internship at that age was a little weird. Again, I'm like,
it's tough, but you knew something was right. So you wanted your weekends back. So you're like, okay, this is my reason for my redirection.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I landed in Sports Engine, loved it. Loved the culture. I mean, it's like the coolest company. Loved the people. A lot of those people, like I said, were people from Alchemy that I grew to love. And so I had a blast and I was making a lot better money, had more normal hours. And then you know, that itch started to come around where I was like, I actually don't want to work 8 to 5, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. sitting at a desk, there was a lot of times where I'd be like scrolling my email and kind of like, I don't have anything to do right now, but I'm like kind of chained to this desk till 5 p.m.
Yeah, you can't leave. And this is pre-COVID. So
Pre-COVID.
you were in the office or
and they're
you were
chill, you know,
nowhere.
like they weren't crazy, but like there was no work from home. There was nothing. And I was like, I'm sitting here for 8 hours, but I'm probably only working like, I don't know, 4 or 5 of them, like realistically on meetings, calls, selling. The rest of it, I'm like playing ping pong or like scrolling, just trying to find something to do, looking like I'm busy. Like it got to the point where I was like, okay, I'm looking outside. It's 75 and sunny. I could be like on a boat and I'm sitting at this desk. And at the time I was like, there's got to be something else, but I didn't really have a plan or anything at the time.
So, oh God, I'm like, and where are we pivoting? We're pivoting.
We're pivoting.
I can feel it.
We're pivoting. So it was, October of 2018 at this point. And a girl slid into my DMs and she was like, you should do this thing. I'm sure many of us have gotten those DMs.
I have, from you actually, and a few others.
And I was like, what is this? I have no idea what you're talking about. And it ended up being a network marketing company called Monate Hair Care. At the time, it was only hair care.
I'm so glad you're saying the name because I've never said it right.
Yeah. People say it different all the time, but Monate, it's Modern Nature is like the actual name. So Monate.
I'm glad you're doing this because I've argued with people about it, how I'm right and they're wrong. And they were like, no. And I'm like, actually, I don't actually know. So whatever.
And it's also
not that it matters anymore, but I'm just saying I wanted to set the record straight. Okay.
Yeah. So October of 2018, she said, you know, I do this full time. I work from my phone. I can kind of it's sales, but it's, you know, through social media, whatever. And I was like, fuck it. I mean, why not?
Why not start it?
I mean, I can do my job and do this too.
Okay, so you were like, I can do both.
For 2 months. Yep. So I started in October of 2018. By January 1st, I was gone out of Sports Engine, had like doubled my salary. And I was like, see you later.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So again, like when I'm going to do something,
you're going to go on.
I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And so within 2 months, I had put in my 2 weeks and I was a full-time work from home, full freedom, 2 months after just starting something that was pretty against the grain.
And this whole time too, you've been dating your person. I don't know if you got married.
We got married in July of 2018. So we were just married. We had just bought a house in August. So we got married in July, moved to a new house in August. I started what ended up being my career for 6 years in October. Left my job in January of 2019. Shit.
And he was supportive of everything? Or was he like at first, like, what is happening?
Joey is very traditional. He's like, just kind of, he's Joey.
He's Joey.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so he's like, yeah, do that, whatever. But when I said I was going to quit my job, he was like, hold on a minute. And my parents were like, hold on a minute.
Everyone's panicking.
And I was like, guys, like, I mean, the money isn't a factor. So what is a factor? And my parents were like, the only thing you need to figure out is health insurance.
Okay.
And
fair.
Joey was like, the only thing you need to figure out is like, are you actually going to be able to do this? Or is this just like a weird 2-month thing? And I was like, Joey, you know me.
Watch me.
If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it.
See, but that's something I respect about you that we're going to talk about after we hear your whole stories. Like you go for it 100% no matter what you're doing.
Yeah.
So it's respectable. So like that's something, if you're ever taking a leap in anything, you need to go for it 100%.
Yeah. And it is a little bit of it's like a blessing and a curse.
It is.
Because I do
workaholics.
Yeah. Get a little obsessed. But
I know the feeling.
I think that's just like a personality trait a lot of founders have.
I think so too.
So,
okay. So now you've quit your sales engine position.
Yeah.
You're full-time Monate. Sorry. I said it wrong again. And what is happening now?
I'm just doing that all day, every
What is it?
day. Showing up on social media, sharing basically my hair all day, every day, and night, and weekends, and mornings, and holidays. And I don't think my family no, not really, but head was in my phone.
And messaging people?
Toxically for, I would say like 3 years.
Straight. 3 years toxic behavior with social media, with your phone, with workaholism. Workaholicism?
Yeah,
what
sure.
The hell? Okay, whatever.
And then it continued, but 3 years was about when I was like, I kind of woke up after about 3 years and was like, what am I doing?
What changed?
My mental health went to shit because of a lot of things. I was very, very burnt out. I was chasing things that, and I'm sure we'll get into this, but that I wouldn't normally be chasing. And then there was a huge loss in my life that really rocked our world. And I think at that time, that's when I started to feel like I was not in the right place anymore. But it took me a long time to actually get out of it because candidly, I was making a lot of money.
Yeah.
It was, Joey has an incredible job as well. And together we had a lifestyle that was very easy, which again, very grateful to say, but it was me. Part of it was me toxically working that was building it. And it kind of dawned on me that like I was chasing things that I didn't really care about, and I had everything that I could possibly need. And so when we experienced this loss in my family, I think that woke me up to be like, I mean, he's 20 years old, lost in a tragic car accident. And when you get that call at 2 a.m., it just kind of shocks you into reality.
Your perspective shifts on everything.
Yeah.
Like what actually matters is
what actually matters. What is the point of all of this? The dollars in my bank account are so irrelevant.
Yeah. What do they mean? When
things like that are happening.
So now you're like, I whatever I'm doing right now is not aligned. Why did you think it wasn't aligned? Like what started to realize as what matters? Like what did you want back?
So I think a huge turning point in all of this was when I was talking with one of my friends who was also working in Monat at the time. And in Monat and in network marketing in general and in sales in general and honestly in everything, you're always kind of trying to get to the next thing. It's like, what's the next goal, right? I always had a goal that I was going for, and it was a very tangible goal. And at that time, I kind of was like, I don't really care enough to like go after that next goal. I cared, but I felt very stuck on how to get there. And we were chatting and she was like, what if like what's next for Aspen is to just be? And that really, I remember vividly like sitting in my office, looking out the window. It was like a nice sunny day. And I was like, it sounds kind of nice to just like be Aspen for a little bit. I had really lost myself in my career. And none of it was all very aligned and up until it wasn't, I was very passionate about what I was doing. I saw the lives that it was changing, obviously myself included. And that is what fueled me.
Yep.
And then I think things just kind of, when, we had this loss, it was just kind of like, all of these things that are changing people's lives are incredible. Money is access, right?
Yes.
But like the impact kind of came to a screeching halt where I was like, the impact that I'm making is, I'm helping people add money to their bank accounts and that supports their families and it's super exciting and it's great. But like, do I care that much about it for myself? And that was when I kind of lost that passion. And when she was like, what if what's next is to just be? That was like earth shattering to me because I was like, I have everything that I need, I've got a really loving family and I've got a roof over my head and I'm comfortable and I can go grab a coffee whenever I want to and I have time freedom. And that's when I was like, maybe I don't need to continue to chase the next goal. Maybe I just need to like take a breath for a second.
How hard was it to do that? Because you're a goal achiever and grabber. You know what I mean? You're going to go for it if you're going to do it.
Right. I think that became what I was going to do. I think like being well and being with my family and present became that next thing.
Like
instead of a career or a whatever, it was that. And I think that became kind of what I was obsessed with, but it did not come necessarily easy. It's not easy to, at that time, I hadn't let go of anything yet. I was still pursuing my business. I was just doing it in a way that I thought I could maintain a much longer, like a more sustainable way. Until I literally had a panic attack when I was supposed to be boarding a flight to the Dominican Republic for a free trip with Monat that I had earned with Joey.
Why do you think you had a panic attack?
A lot of things. I was in a really, really bad mental health state from our tragic loss, from burnout. I think I had like this overwhelming sense of like being seen. Like I just like didn't want to, I just wanted to like go into a shell. And flying was scary. This was also right after COVID. So I was like, being in groups is intense. Flying is intense. I developed a lot of travel anxiety. And so that morning I literally canceled my flight without telling anyone. Joey was like, I was excited for a vacation.
Yeah. You're like,
and I was like,
we're not going.
Yeah, well, I'm having a panic attack. So he was very supportive. We that day just ditched everything and drove up to the North Shore, where I could just put my phone away and be in nature and like touch some grass.
How did that make you feel actually when you got to step away?
Like I could breathe, truly. We went with intention. You know, I said, I'm going to put my phone away for the next 4 days. We're going to write down things that Aspen loves. We're going to write down things that Aspen doesn't love. We're going to write down exactly what Aspen wants out of life. And we're going to like get clear on where the heck we're going next. Because if it's not my current career, what is it? Because at that time, there was like kind of like when I quit Sports Engine or when I was in Sports Engine and wanted to go a different path, it's like, well, what's the path? And it presented itself at this time. And this was really like, 2.5, 3 years before I actually folded my business. But at that time it was like, okay, how are we going to move towards you being calm and like feeling safe in your life?
Do you remember what you wrote down?
I have it in a notebook at home. But really, really simple things, like painfully simple. Like I love sitting at home on my couch with my dog and my husband and watching a TV show.
You do love that?
On Monday nights.
And I love it too. And I'm like, oh my God, that sounds like the best
like
thing in the world.
Oh my God. It's like my favorite. I love like sleeping at night. Like I love going to bed. Like it's painfully simple.
That's so beautiful.
I love reading a book. That's not personal development. Like I haven't touched a personal development self-help book in probably 5 years. And I think I'm the best version of myself I've ever been because I'm not taking other people's advice all the time and trying to become something that I wouldn't have normally become. So really, really simple things. I love like going on the boat. I love jumping in the water. Like there's just so many things that you think about that are just so small, but like really make you feel alive and like you're like on the earth.
Yep.
And those are the things, I love getting an iced coffee and walking around. I love walking my dog. I love like,
so simple.
That's what I was writing down. Nothing crazy, like at all. Because I don't want a crazy big life. And that's really what I was chasing. I was chasing the trips and the cars and the money. And like, at the end of the day, none of that actually fueled me. And I think I really just was like lost without knowing it until I knew it.
Well, you're uniquely like you because you had all of those things so early. Like
Right.
I got the car through work and I got the trip and I got to go speak on a big stage and I got like, you get like a little bit of Instagram clout, especially in that time of Instagram.
Yeah.
Or social media, I should say.
Yeah.
And now you're sitting in all this like air quotes richness, right? And you're like the least fulfilled and like least mentally sane that you've ever been.
Yep. 100%. Like I've never had an ounce of anxiety or depression or anything in my life until I like quote unquote had it all.
Everyone on the outside thought you did.
Yeah.
They saw something completely different. So now you've written down all these beautiful, like simple things. You're coming back to reality. What changes now? Because you're still in your job.
Honestly, just the way I showed up to my career changed a lot. I think subconsciously I was taking steps away, but I didn't really feel that way. I felt still very much like I was going to do it forever. But I was just slowly pulling myself away. And I think the farther away I got, the more my eyes opened to what was really going on. There were some things also in the company that I didn't align with, changes that were happening. Obviously, I was very high up in the company, so I had the insights with the founders and things, and there were just shifts happening that I was like, I just don't agree with a lot of this morally. And if I don't agree with something morally, like I'm out. And so once it got to the point where I kind of saw what was happening and I was not feeling aligned, I really just kind of stopped showing up. What's weird about that kind of career is like it's all on you. So I just kind of stopped putting what I was putting into it at the time. And that's really when I I had re-fallen in love with kind of the wellness side of my life. I had re-fallen in love with fitness and working out. And that was what was on the back burner for so many years because I was so obsessed with my career that like I didn't have time to work out or, you know, so I was telling myself I didn't have time to make meals, which is like one of my favorite things to do. I didn't have time to like go on dates with my husband, which like, oh my gosh, our relationship took a huge hit when I was trying to build something. You know, I'm sitting there thinking I'm building this massive thing for my family. And he's like, hello.
You forgot about me over here. I'm on the side.
I would love to say hello to you, you know.
But you can't. You're too busy making us money. But guess what? You're not fulfilled.
Yeah. So, I just was in a, interesting kind of limbo.
So you now are realizing, okay, I'm going to reprioritize my wellness side, which is literally, it's funny because it's like the wealthy circle and the why behind this entire thing and why you're a part of it and all these things. But you're like, I forgot about how to take care of myself.
Yeah.
That's another thing.
For years.
Like, I mean, like it's one thing to say like, I'm unhappy with my workload and I'm unhappy with like my ill balance, but like
I was
not
sick.
taking care of yourself. It's insane to me that we, including me, have done or do this.
Yeah.
And we just put our whole body, our thing, our being on the wayside and just say, I don't care about it.
Yeah. And it's crazy because like nothing runs without you. If you're the founder, the owner, the face of your business, whatever it is, even if it's just like a hobby project, like
anything,
it can't go without you. So what are you doing?
Literally, what are you doing? This is a wake up call that I've had too.
Yeah.
So I understand it. I literally know exactly what you're talking about. That feeling, it's icky. And then, so now you're feeling like, okay, I'm working out again.
Yeah.
I'm getting my health back together. I think probably at this time you'd gone to MMC, Minneapolis Integrative, not yet.
No, I had worked with a different, like a holistic hormones person because I knew something was up with my hormones. I just could tell I had raging acne. I had gone off of birth control, which obviously plays a huge role in your hormones, but it had been like 3 years and I was still like, horrible acne. I felt like shit. Like I had no energy. I was like, something's up. So I reached out to this girl. Her name's Dempsey. She literally changed my life. Worked with her for like, I don't know, half a year on just like learning about my hormones and how to heal them and provide for them because I had neglected them for so long.
What do you mean by neglected them for so long?
Just not fueling my body, not cooking at home, not, you know, I was literally in fight or flight for 3-4 years. Like I'm not exaggerating, like day and night. I was in that state of like, I could feel like weight on my chest.
Oh my God.
For years. And it ruined me.
It ruined your body.
I was so sick.
Oh my God, Aspen, this is horrible.
Yeah.
So you start prioritizing your health. You're still in your business. You start to pull back. You have no plan right now.
No plan.
No guarantee of income.
Nope.
What happens now?
I think I had re-fallen in love with the wellness side of things. And I had learned so much about my hormones and how to move in a way that supported them, obviously while fueling. And, you know, there's so much that goes into it.
Oh my God, yeah.
That I am not an expert in. But
that's when we call Dr. Cassie Wilder
like,
we'll say, hey, Cassie, help us with that.
Yep. Yeah. So I had re-fallen in love with all of that. And I had really found a love for Pilates. But we don't really have any Pilates around here. And in classic Aspen fashion, I was like, I could do that. So rewind all the way back to Alchemy. My boss at the time, Molly Hanton.
That's right. Molly was your boss. Oh, she was my God. Full circle. Okay.
She was one of the founders of Alchemy.
Yes.
She had since departed from Alchemy. And I was like, what are the odds that I said, I think my exact text was like, you should open a Pilates studio on the west side of Minneapolis because I need it. And she was like, oh my gosh, fun. Like, yeah, I would. And I was like, well, wait, hold on. What I really meant to say was like, we should do this together. And she was like, she was in Paris at the time. And she was like, when I get home from Paris, let's get coffee. And so like 2 days later, we got coffee. And literally that day, Rev was born. She was like, what if we brought treadmills in with the reformers? And I was like, sure, let's do it. Because that was one of my biggest pain points with Pilates is like you get done and it was fabulous, but like you have 0 steps. You know, you have moved very little.
Yes.
And so it was a gap in the market that we saw. And literally 1 year from that day, almost to the day, our doors were open.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I move quick.
You do move quick.
There's
You're
one thing
like
about
a hustler.
me. We're moving.
But it's funny because this movement was very aligned.
Very aligned.
And very
It was just like a
calming.
natural, organic. Yeah. And we've had conversations since day one, Molly and I. It's like, we're in a different stage of life. She just had a baby. At the time she was trying to have a baby. Her hormones were all screwed up.
Oh my God.
And we just collectively were like, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it in a way that is calm, essentially. It's really cool to see, because I think that's very, very like an outlandish thing to say in the founder world, is like, I'm just going to be so candid. Like, you don't have to like eat, sleep, grind, hustle to build a business. Is it hard? Yeah. Do you have to put in time and energy? Of course.
Trial and error. Yes.
Are there ways to make it less impactful on your nervous system? 1,000%.
You
Like,
just have to know how.
yeah. And I learned that through 3 careers before.
And making mistakes.
100%.
And things that you can't handle. And just because, something I want to say too is like, just because someone else can handle it doesn't mean that you can.
100%.
Like, just because maybe they can handle it, they might be looking like they can handle it. Hence, honestly, to be honest, you're probably your hair business, looking like you're living the life. And then in the background, you're like, no, I'm literally can't. I'm dying back here.
Well, and there's also like, someone might build it that way and someone might build it this way. And two things can be true at the same time.
So when you left the hair biz, I always say hair biz, but it's like way bigger than that, but still it is. It's hair. It's hair. You closed your book of business and you had no income for a year.
So they overlapped a little bit.
Okay.
So for the first year building Rev, I had very little income still coming in. The beautiful thing about network marketing is you can quit and it's still passive for a while.
Yep.
I was still making a lot of passive income the day I shut it down.
Yep.
So it didn't ever actually go to zero. I chose to shut it down because, again, there were some things that I didn't align with. So there was a period of time where, yes, I was like literally making $0.
And you felt confident in knowing that you were going to create something bigger.
Yeah.
So you were okay with that.
Yeah. And obviously I'm grateful to have a husband that
you've got a partner who's supportive.
Yeah.
And you had savings and other things.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm just giving people like an eye in, because a lot of people are like, I literally can't quit my thing.
Right.
Like, I don't have the
partner,
the
support,
thing or whatever.
100%.
And so I'm just giving them that emotion of like, okay, you still were in an uncomfortable position, but you believed in what you were doing next.
Yes. And it's crazy because building something like Rev, you're not like gonna get a paycheck for, a while, depending on how things go.
Yeah.
A lot of people never get paid. A lot of people don't get paid until they sell it or something. We're lucky to be able to pay ourselves a salary because we're just lucky that Rev is doing so well, but also we're in it all day, every day. But, there's a lot of risk that goes into building something like Rev versus, something on social media, something online. For me, I was able to build courses. I was able to build, and I could do it overnight. And I could people would sign up and then I could be like, never mind, I don't want to do that. That's not what happens when you're building something like Rev.
Now that you're in it and you're doing Rev and you're creating Rev, what does success look like now versus what did success look like back then, whether it be in your sales job or in Monate?
Yeah. I think my whole beginning of my career success was money in the bank account. In order to do things in my life, travel or buy a house or have a family, whatever it was. And obviously I'm never going to be the one that says like money doesn't matter. Like, money is access and money is comfortability. But I really, really, really found that success for me is like just having control of my day. Being able to wake up when I want, being able to go grab a coffee, being able to go, just have control of my time. But also I'm a very simple person when it comes to like what makes me happy and excited. It's like, I just love being around people that I love being around. Yep. I love doing simple things. I'm not a big traveler. I don't need to go see the world. I mean, if it happens, great, but I'm not like dying to jump on a plane and, go. I love being at home. It's my favorite place to be. And that's truly what success is to me. It's like, if I can be at my home with my family and eating an incredible meal that we made in the kitchen and maybe have a glass of wine, like, I'm chilling.
You're like having the best day
my
ever.
dream life. Yeah.
See, it's like so healthy to hear you say those things, because I think everybody thinks that success looks the same for everyone, even though we know like success looks different for everyone. We hear that, but then you think in your head like, oh, success, that rich person, or that the person that has all the things, or the person who has the business, and like we can't see behind the curtain.
Yeah. And I think also there's like a movement happening where I see a lot more on social media of like, this is my rich life, or like, this is my, you know, this is what rich means to me. And I love it. I think it's like everything, but it's new. Like I think for a while it was like, you know, in order to be successful, you got to look successful. And now I'm like, if like sitting in your 300 square foot apartment with your, you know, sweatsuit on and watching friggin' Gilmore Girls or whatever it is, if that's like your dream life, you're successful as fuck. Just
you're living
doing that. If you feel calm and you feel safe and you feel so excited to wake up in the morning, you're so successful.
I think one thing to flag too is like, you did not know what success looked like at first. Like you thought success looked like having the good job. And then you got the good job and you're like, okay, well, what the hell? Having the money, having the freedom. Like success looked different for you until you figured out what your success looked like, because you felt it.
And that's the biggest thing for me is you got to just go put one foot in front of the other and go find things. You have to walk through the doors that are opened for you and be okay if it's the wrong door, because it's the right door. That like I could look back to literally the day I graduated, probably even before, and tell you every single step that I took and how it led me to the next thing, you know?
Yeah.
But I would have never gotten to where I am right now had I not like literally taken a front desk job at Alchemy.
Just freaking start.
Yeah. I think there's just like so much power in, if there's a door open and it looks like a cool door, walk through it and see what happens.
I mean, I literally have a similar saying, because I started at Alter, like as the front desk person, because I wanted / needed a new the membership for free because I couldn't afford it because I was interning at Fallon after college.
Oh my gosh!
And then I was like, well, actually, I think I want to teach here, and so I like took a leap of faith and started teaching.
You just put one foot in front of the other.
And I had never like actually, I take that back. I had publicly spoken before it.
Fitness?
Yeah.
Was what taught me how to speak.
Yep, exactly.
It's crazy.
Because I remember I like had a brain fart moment when I was doing NSAC, if you're familiar, advertising. And
figure it out.
Yep. I literally was like, holy shit, I almost fainted. And then I like came back to, and I was like, oh my God. And then I finished my presentation, and then I got into coaching, and you just have to. There's nobody else to guide the room.
Figure it the
hell out.
Talk. Say something.
Speak.
Yeah.
Go.
It's actually really powerful. If there's anyone out there that like wants to be better at speaking,
coaching,
go teach the fitness classes.
Helps you be concise, helps you also know how to deal with different types of people.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how many years I've coached now, like 6 or 8 now.
Yeah.
Holy crap. That's a lot. You learn different types of people, how to speak well, how to, navigate situations.
It's an incredible career, honestly.
It is. You can burn out quickly though. If you do it
would be
wrong.
Something that I would like tell my younger self, like, do that, because it's going to push you out of your comfort zone. It's going to teach you so many things. Yeah. Don't do it forever if you don't want to. No, but I do it in moderation. Yeah.
I've never taught more than 3 classes a week because I know me and I'll burn out. Yeah. And I'm an energy giver. So if I give my energy, even though I'm an extrovert, I will be nothing. Yeah. Flat. Yeah. So I'm just saying, though, it's funny because I'm like one foot in front of the other, because had I not done those things, never would have gotten the job at Lifetime. Yeah. Never would have realized my passion for wellness, never would have started the Wealthy Circle, like never would have been here.
It's like that butterfly effect trend that's going on right now. It's true. Everyone's got their butterfly story.
But pivoting is so important. And I know I talked about how last episode was about like giving yourself permission to change. Mm-hmm. You're allowed to change your mind. You don't need to have this like chokehold on the way you thought life was going to be. Because if you do that, your controlism,
you're going to be stuck.
You're going to be stuck.
Yeah. And then you're going to feel stuck.
So a lot of people out there are feeling stuck. Mm-hmm. What would you say to somebody who is looking for a sign to know to pivot? Yeah. Because they're not happy with where they are right now.
I'm such a big follow your intuition girl. Mm-hmm. I don't think I've done anything in my life that when I followed my gut has become the wrong decision. And I also think I live by, my grandpa always said this growing up, and he said it to my mom a lot, but make a decision and then make it the right decision. Oh. Because I think decision making is hard for people, yourself
guilty. Don't. No, I can't. We'll tell that story when we talk about branding, because I'm like, I can't.
Yeah, but I know decision making is hard for people, and I've always lived by the make a decision and then make it the right decision. Right. And I think it makes it so much less scary to just make a decision. Mm-hmm. You know, if you want to quit your job and then make it the right decision by figuring it out. You know, you can't just like frolic through life and like hope that something happens. I think if you're intentional about where you're putting yourself in the right groups, in the right settings, with the right people, but also confidently stepping into something, the next thing's going to present itself. I'm just like, it's such a like fate answer, but I just truly believe that make some decisions. You know, you can't just be like, I don't know. You're going to stay stuck forever. Do something. Do anything, and then make it the right thing.
A lot of people wait for things to happen to them.
Yeah.
Which is actually the worst thing that you can do.
Yeah.
Because if you don't just do the damn thing, one thing.
And it's going to be scary.
It is.
This girl sliding into my DMs, do you think I wasn't scared when I like bought my first hair care products and was like, what the fuck am I doing? Terrifying. I was like, what are people going to think of? The 6 years of what do people think of me is taxing on the brain. And I don't think the people talking understand how taxing it is, but so many people would have quit, you know, and so many people would have just not done it because it's scary. And I think that there's just so much power in just doing shit that you believe in, whether it's scary or people get it or not. Follow that gut and follow your intuition.
You put yourself out there because you were like the face of this brand and like selling it, being a leader, like talking about that. And like there was probably, you were afraid of judgment.
All day, every day judgment.
How did you get over that? Because a lot of people also who want to put themselves out there, it includes getting on social media more.
Yeah.
Like what can they know from that journey that you had?
I mean, I must have some ounce of self-confidence, you know? I don't think I'm like the most confident person. I'm pretty quiet. I kind of like shy away from like groups of people and whatever. But when I know something deep down is so good and I'm very passionate about it, nothing's going to stop me from showing up for it. And
they're like, I don't give a shit.
saw the impact. I saw what was happening inside that many, many people just never see sitting on the outside, and they form an opinion, and that's totally fine, fair, whatever. Some of it may be kind of accurate, you know? But at the end of the day, if I feel aligned with something, I'm not going to stop because someone else isn't aligned with it, and they shouldn't be because they're not doing it. So they're not aligned with it. They're not doing it. Great. But I am, and I'm going to continue doing it.
You're like, yep, don't care.
Yeah.
Going to be moving on. Thank you very much for your opinion.
And it's not easy, like getting shit on or told that you're doing something crazy, or if you have judgment from your family or something, like it's not easy. And I will be the first to say, like, there were many days where I was like, maybe they're right, you know?
Yep.
But at the end of the day, nobody's going to give me a life that I deserve and I want other than myself. And so I just kept on going.
You took the liberty of creating your own.
Yes.
You're like, I'm going to create this. I'm going to do this thing.
Yeah.
I know. I'm thinking about all the girls out there who are like, I know I need to pivot. I know I need to pick something different. And it is hard. It's scary, but you got to just go. In your gut. I mean, you left money and that can be scary.
Very.
You started a business where you could have gone negative and that can be scary.
Yep.
But you just knew that you were following something that you cared about.
Yeah. And I just like trust myself. And I think that if you don't trust yourself, who will, you know? And I have proof of it. So that's a huge thing too, is like, I have proof that I can succeed in things that I do.
Yeah.
And without that proof, I don't know that I'd be as confident as I am right now. Maybe if I'd failed a bunch of stuff before this, but I also think that I stick to things long enough to see it through. Yes. And I give myself that proof that I can do things. And therefore any like big business, like we're making big business decisions right now in Rev. And I'm like, I have absolutely nothing but confidence that these next steps are going to make it even bigger and even better. Versus being like, I don't know if we should do this. What if it fails? What if it, doesn't work? But I have proof, that it will work. If we continue to show up in the way that we are.
If you stay in the what if, so you'd never never actually get to see success because you'd just be what ifing everything in your life.
Yeah. And it's like, at the end of the day, the worst thing that can happen is you fail. And like, cool. Then you learn from it and you go to the next thing.
Shuffle on.
Yeah.
Gone with the wind. There you go.
Life is so unserious. Again, going back to 2021, we woke up and it was like, holy shit, life is so unserious. If you want to freaking start a Pilates brand, do it. And then guess what? If nobody comes, you probably lost quite a bit of money. But at the end of the day, to me, I'd rather be living and trying to fulfill my passions than having a bunch of zeros in the bank account.
Which, oh my God, that's like the truest thing you've ever said. what would you go back, just who you are right now today? And then I want to kind of talk about branding for the last little bit of this. What would you say to Aspen pre that 2021 year where you had lost all of those things? Like, what could you say to her right now?
You're going to get through it. And there's going to be another side. And that makes me so emotional to say. It was really hard.
I know.
But like you get through it. There's always going to be light at the end of the tunnel. And you're going to wake up one day and you're not going to be like, holy shit, I'm scared to do anything. I was so scared to do everything. I was just so anxious. And if I could see where I'm at now, I would be, I think a weight would just be lifted off my shoulders, because I would be like, oh my God, I'm like going to be able to breathe and like go out and do things again. And I'm not like there's nothing wrong with me, you know?
Yeah. You don't have any problems. You just were in a problem and creating a problem and trying to hustle way too hard for your own good and your own health. Yeah. Oh my God, dude. Thank you for sharing that. And I'm so sorry for your loss too. Like I know I've said that to you offline like a million times and I didn't want to like overkill it, but like loss is, oh my God, it like crushes your world.
It really does.
But it also wakes you up.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
in a way,
there's so much that happened in 2021 that I am so grateful for. Not being, the loss is not one of those things. No, of
course not. Good God, no.
But like that year changed my life. And I don't know where I would be right now if I didn't like literally have mental breakdowns and spiral out of control, because I think I would be in a similar position still and like living every day in fight or flight, and I would be so sick.
Maybe those were actually the biggest blessing, those freak outs, because they were, you're like, I have no other choice but to pivot and change what I'm doing, or I'm going to be nothing. I'm going to be flat. Yeah. And you wouldn't show up for anything. Not your relationship, not your family, not your friends, not your job anymore. You'd flatline. You'd be on. I mean, I've been there. I've done too much. I've been, like in decision fatigue where I can't make any more decisions because I'm so burnt out from decision making. And I don't wish that on anyone. Like, there is no glamour to the hustle culture, FYI, nothing. No. I think that is a big misconception. And like, I'll let you talk to that too. Yeah. But like, the hustle culture is the worst place to be. Yeah. It is the dumbest shit. It is the do more, get more. That's not the truth. No. It's do smarter, get smarter. You'll get more. And I'm also in a little bit of it. Yeah. I'm definitely treating my body better. I'm treating my mind better. I'm slowing down. I'm letting some things kind of fall to the wayside. Yeah. So that I can just get through. Yeah. But like, I have to make decisions soon here, and I have to like make smart ones. Yeah. And I just have to make a decision though. It's no more treading.
Make it the right one.
Make it the right. Yeah. Create the right one.
I just think that there's seasons of life too. It's like, there's seasons where you're going to be building harder, that doesn't mean you can't be getting your sleep at night and fueling your body and making time for your relationships, because those are literally the only things that matter. Yep. If you're building something to be successful and grow, it's irrelevant if like you don't have people to share it with. It's irrelevant if you're ill. It's irrelevant if, you're not in a mentally good place. Yep. So I think that there are definitely seasons where you're going to be working more, working harder, but at the end of the day, I promise you, you don't need to skip sleep or meals or workouts or time with your, family in order to be successful. Like, the two things can be happening at the same time. You can be so fulfilled and pouring into yourself while building a very successful brand. And I feel like this last year and a half of building Rev, I guess 2 years, has taught me that I can have both. And for a long time, I didn't know if that was possible. I was really scared to start Rev because I was like, I'm leaving something that killed me basically. And I don't want that to happen again. But I think you obviously learn from your mistakes, like you said. And now it's like, I've shown myself that I can sleep 9 hours a night and get up and have my mornings to myself and make a really good breakfast and work out and do all these things and still build a really successful brand.
You're crazy, like, just in the fact that you've transitioned so much and you see that now, like, people literally are looking at your life, and I feel like you're the actual real influencer that people can look at and be like, wait, you're real. Yeah. No, I mean, like,
but I'm so real in the fact that like, I just like don't really care about anything other than having my coffee and making my breakfast
but
and
that's
hanging out with my dog.
It's because it's authentic. It's real. It's not posed. Like, but the people don't understand. They can't tell the difference between what's real and what's not.
Yeah.
Like I'm telling you, like if you don't follow Aspen already, go follow her. Your content is you.
Yeah.
But that's also why your content is the best it's ever been.
Yeah.
Your business is the best it's ever been.
Well, and I also like
you're
stopped
happier than
caring
you ever
about
have.
social media.
Yeah.
And that also makes, granted, my livelihood is not on social media. So I can not care about it.
Mm-hmm.
But the second I stopped caring about it and wanted to just show up to create, because I love creating, everything clicked. And I was like, well, I love doing this instead of like, oh, I got to show up again today and talk about my hair, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
That alignment is truly everything.
Oh my God. Okay. I want to pivot real quick because I want to end on like branding and building brands. And I had a question, I had written it down. So I'm like going back. Okay, there it is. You built Rev. You were honestly the brain behind it, the building of it. And I know it's like, okay, it's Pilates and running, but you've also built a brand that actually like stands the test of time.
Yeah.
Has like,
so far,
I don't know how many X's it has X'd, but like in less than 2 years, it's killing it. How did you bring that to life? I know that's a very loaded question, but like talk to me about your branding strategy because you're intelligent about branding. I like learned from you.
I appreciate it. I do think it's something that I'm a very creative person, and therefore branding is such a creative thing. But I also have a psychology degree and I have a sales background. So I know what makes people tick. I know a visually pleasing brand and how it makes people feel. Mm-hmm. And I know what gets people to buy. Mm-hmm. And so I do have a lot of skill sets that allow me to think like my consumer. And I think that was going into it. I built Rev because I wanted to go to a place like Rev.
Yes.
And so I was the main consumer. And so deep innate in my body, Rev is like my dream studio to go to, because that's really the only reason I created Rev, is because I wanted to go to Pilates and I wanted to go to a place that felt like I was in LA or like New York, and we're in Minnesota and we just didn't have anything like it. And so I was like the person I was tapping into. Obviously, that's pivoted and grown a little bit to the point where we have clients now and we have people that are coming through our doors, and I think like them in order to continue to scale our brand to what it's become now and obviously what it will be.
I mean, it's pretty incredible though that you're the key consumer in the OG state. I mean, at least because if you don't want to go do it, I'm sorry, but who are you trying to sell to if you're not the consumer too?
Yeah.
So I think that's something that people forget about with a brand is like, you do have to think about, would I buy?
Yeah.
Do I believe it? Do I believe what they're selling me? Is it worth my dollar? Like all of those things when you're doing branding. And if you've checked out about branding, like just think about even anything in your role that you're doing, anything you want to do in your side hustle. It's like, you need to like it, believe it, want it too. Yeah. In order for it to work.
Well, I think in order to be passionate about anything, it has to be something that you're excited about and that you can see a future for. And if you don't have that, it's probably not the right thing to pursue.
Yeah. How did you act on your like creativeness? Like, because you had to eventually just bring this to life and like press go, but like you could have taken this a lot of different directions, and creative fatigue is a real thing when you're in branding.
And creative indecision is crazy.
Yeah.
Like the amount of aesthetics, for lack of a better word, that Rev could have been. And I am like the chief of comparison. Like I look at every Pilates studio and I'm like, oh, their branding's so good. Like maybe we should have gone that route. And it's like, no, we went the route that we knew that people were looking for in our close area, you know, at the time. We always have had big plans of growth since literally that first coffee meeting. But at the end of the day, we were building it for Wyzetta, you know, and that kind of directed us. And I think that's cool because forever we'll have Minnesota roots, and building it for that crew is something that I think it'd be fun to look back on.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. It's where it should be. You can always rebrand if you really, really wanted to. You've already built the base. But like you don't need to do that.
I truly like, it is my soul that is Rev. And it's funny because starting it and like building our first location, like we bootstrapped it. It's all our money. You go in there and people every day are like, it's so beautiful. It's so amazing. And there are 6 million things that I want better and different, you know? when we opened our doors, we didn't even have logos on the walls. Like we just had to get open, you know? And I think that's where you kind of got to let go of the perfection and know that like you can just trust the process. And, you know, every month we're adding different things and getting it to the point where, you know, my vision actually is opening the doors. Rev was not my perfect vision, but like, I know that as we continue to grow, it's going to be exactly what I have in my head. It just, it takes time.
It will. And it takes time. But
especially
also,
when you're doing it by yourself.
Well,
yeah. The three of us, but you know.
And on your own dollars.
Yeah.
Yay!
That's what I mean.
Literally. But you also like have brought up something of like, you can't wait until it's perfect.
Right.
You just have to go.
Yeah.
Like you will not do it if you're waiting till it's perfect because you will run out of money.
Yeah.
You run out of resources. You'll run out of time. You will talk yourself into a frenzy. What all, you know,
you'll just start going. It's like a wedding dress.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's such a good, like, there are so many times when like I was getting my wedding dress. I've been married a really long time now, but I remember looking at wedding dresses and then I didn't keep any photos of my wedding dress on my phone because I was like, I will find a different one.
Of course you will. Because,
you know, so it's like, you got to just stick to the one, know it's great and keep moving. Is there a better one out there? Maybe.
Probably.
Maybe there's a better aesthetic for Rev, but like we're going with this one and it's great and we love it.
Because at this point you've already got the aesthetic down. It's great.
Yeah.
Is it perfect? I think it is, but like you might have critiques.
There's always little things. I was literally in class today and I was like, we should add a backsplash to that. And then I'm thinking, you know, doing my crunches and I'm like, that'd be a cute backsplash.
Oh my God.
Like there's just so many little things, you know, it's just always going to be that way.
But if you festered on that, you'd honestly be wasting your time, which is why people probably hustle so hard when they shouldn't be, when they're not having balance because they're obsessing over change in the small things when really your efforts needed over here to get people in the door, to get a brand on social media. Oh my gosh,
if you don't have people in the door taking class, then you have nothing. So like, let's prioritize that first.
You and Jordan are fairly similar because he'll be like, no. Why are we prioritizing a photo shoot?
Right.
We need to prioritize the content. Literally, to get it live.
We didn't do a photo shoot until our first like hired photo shoot was last week.
Oh my God, shut up.
Yep.
All via phone.
We've been, we've
iPhone
had like
gals.
cameras, but not like a paid photo shoot. Yeah.
Oh my God, you guys are incredible. You're scrappy as shit though.
Yeah. Well,
which I respect, which is why you and Molly had created this. I want to go really quick back. Just one more question about this is when you did your sit down coffee and you started building this, what were the first few steps that you took to go? Because a lot of people go and they coffee shop dream, we call it, and they don't know when to act on it. And they don't know what their first few steps should be. So I'm trying to like give that to the listeners.
Gosh, I think our first step was coming up with the concept, obviously. Once we kind of had that nailed down, like literally in that meeting, I wish I could remember the legit first step that we took, but I think it was just like figuring out a name. And then figuring out the branding, because those are all things you can do with no money, right?
Exactly,
like you can just start doing things. And then it was location hunting for us. Obviously we're brick and mortar, so you got to have a location. And I would say that was like our first big step was finding that location. Took a while. There was that's a whole nother podcast. Yeah. But we landed in the perfect spot and I couldn't be more happy about how it worked out. And then once you have the location, it's like, all right, now we got to build it out and you just put one foot in front of the other. Like Molly had done it before. So that was extremely helpful.
True. Molly had background in fitness, obviously with alchemy,
but I hadn't, and she hadn't done this, you know? True. So it's always a factor of newness. But it was wild. Just like thinking about, okay, now we got to order our equipment. Okay. That's a whole new thing, you know, like everything's new, everything's different. Everything's, typically we didn't have anyone to lean on, you know, so we just had to figure it out and keep putting one foot in front of the other. You don't get the LLC, set up the bank accounts. Like there's just so much that you just, it kind of happens as you go and you figure it out.
One thing at a time too. Truly.
One thing at a time. If I would have, and everyone says this is not a new concept, but like if I would have thought about how much work it's been, I never would have started it. Yeah. So you have to just like one foot in front of the other. Let's do this next step, check it off the list. Next step, check it off the list.
Make it digestible so that you can still live your life because your priority was still to live your life.
Exactly.
And be in balance.
Exactly.
Everybody like that, you know, listeners write in, people talk about it. They're like, I just don't know how to start. I just don't know how to start. But you have to go.
Do something.
Move.
Every day.
One little thing. 60 seconds of time even towards moving
Make
forward.
the Instagram account. The amount of Instagram accounts that I have, that I hold,
Because you're just hanging on for
Every
another
new
business.
Yeah. I'm
Oh
just
my
like,
God.
gotta grab that one just in case.
She's like the chronic business owner, but she's doing it in the right way. You're doing it in the right way, my friend.
I appreciate it.
I had one more question about Rev. Oh, I wanted to ask, what can you share about where you guys are going?
We are in the midst of getting ready to go to our second location.
Woo!
It will be in the Minneapolis area still.
Yes.
Second corporate location. And then from there, our goal is to franchise. So if you want to open a Rev in your area, we have a landing page, a little page on our website that you can fill out an interest form. But we're pretty pumped to be going nationwide here pretty quick.
It will happen, and it is going to be it's going to be incredible. Like,
speaking
truly.
of season of life that I'm about to be burning it at both ends. Here we go.
Here we go, baby. But you're settled up. You're ready
maybe
now.
we'll be back in a year and I'll explain how I've done it while still getting 9 hours of sleep.
You will still get 9 hours of sleep. There's no way you're letting that go.
I will.
No, she's making that a priority.
Yeah.
Real quick, where can people find you and Rev?
My Instagram is Aspen__King.
Yeah, the double.
So annoying. And we are the Rev Studios on Instagram.
I'm crying. Okay, I want you to leave the girls, the people, the listeners with some piece of advice. I would say probably on, I don't know, there's so many things. God, I ask you so many questions every day that I'm like, I was trying to think of like, what's a good last question? What has surprised you the most about being a founder?
Honestly, and I think this has been kind of a through line of this whole podcast, but what surprised me the most is the ability to put yourself first and your business second and still make that business successful.
Oh, I love that.
I think that's something that, again, I didn't know was possible, and you don't really hear about the fact. You hear a lot of like hustle till you die.
Yeah, yes.
I'm here to say you can be the best version of yourself, and your business can still be like not on the back burner, but part 2 of your life.
Yep.
And still make it really, really successful.
I mean, you're incredibly successful. So you're walking proof that you can do that.
Thank you.
Aspen has helped me through a lot, you guys. Like, she has been the person that said to me from day one, how long ago? A year ago? She's like,
too long.
Stop doing 2 accounts, put your accounts into one and just be done with it. And I was like, no, I can't leave my page. I was like, I'm so afraid. I don't know. The I don't know is killing me. And then what do you know? Like 9 months later, I merged my pages and I was like, that was it.
Yeah.
Okay. And you also have something that you've taught me is the through line concept and branding people, especially through line concept. And I get it with like all other brands, but for some reason with myself, it's really difficult, but I'm finally understanding it now. Through line just means basically you have a theme or like it could be a brand like voice, or it could be a message. Usually it's a brand message that you come back to no matter what. You're driving to that brand message. So it also helps you narrow when people say don't niche down, but like just narrow a little bit so that you're always narrowing in. So the way Aspen talks on social media is, okay, like I am a founder. I am creating this life for me that is balanced because I wanted to build the brand that I wanted to walk into. Like you're always pouring into that one line. And I feel like you're the first person that has gotten through to me to be like, your line is really like the wealthy life. Yeah. Like that's literally what my line is.
That's what you want to talk about. That's what you want people to learn from you. Yeah. That's what you embody every day. And at the end of the day, that's what you should be about. If that's what you're passionate about. And I think that through line can be like, just think about what you're passionate about and think about also like if we're talking social media and social media wants to be like your full-time career, also your through line then leads people to the money making part of it, because obviously you have to have some income, something to make the money, to keep the lights on if you catch my drift. And hence the wealthy circle.
Yeah, literally. It was built, and which you're a founding member on, and you're the mentor of the month, which I'm so excited about. So fun. And for my wealthy girls that are listening, you get to ask Aspen direct questions. So we will get another podcast, which is like,
can't wait.
The fact that they get 2 is like kind of ridiculous.
It's
I'm
good.
Oh my God.
Well, I'm excited to like speak directly to them.
Yeah. And answer their questions.
Yeah.
So if you're listening and you're in the wealthy circle, let me know your questions in our circle community, please. And thank you. Thank you for coming on here too and sharing your story.
Sorry, I cried.
No, I was literally going to say from like all the bad and the good though. Like
it's crazy. It's been a crazy ride.
It's been a ride. And of course it's going to make you emotional.
It's like therapy talking all about it.
Yeah, it is. You're like moving forward from it all. And you're also like addressing what happened. Yeah, exactly.
Here we go.
The 30, like I said, people say it's the best years. I'm just saying.
So far, so good.
So far, so good.
Mm-hmm. So we're almost 1 year in.
Oh my God. And I literally am like, oh my God, what are we going to do for your birthday? I skipped my birthday. Did you notice? I literally was my birthday and I was like, no, I don't want to do anything.
I know. I did I did talk about what success looks like to me. Last year, my 30th birthday, I had a dinner party
at your house.
Yeah. Literally my parents and our like close family friends and like my family.
Yep.
And it was the best day of my life.
Yep.
Truly, like truly the best day of my life.
It looked so cute though too.
It was perfect. I was like, where should I go? What trip should I go on? And I was like, what am I doing?
Backyard, baby.
I want to go sit in my parents' backyard and have dinner.
And didn't like the chef not show up or something?
The chef no showed. Yeah.
So you just ordered what?
So my family, we just put our heads down and we ordered from a local restaurant. They like showed up for us, made us like 10 plates, and my like uncle and dad and Joey like served it. It was like the cute. It was like when I think about my like life, I'm going to look back and be like, remember when I turned 30? That was like the most wholesome, incredible, amazing day of my life.
It just shows you what like is actually your purpose and your why and what makes you happy.
Wraps this all in a bow.
Yeah,
it's
literally.
Like, that was like my absolute being surrounded by family, hanging out, chatting, having a glass of wine, Aperol Spritz.
Yep.
Turning 30. Like the best day ever.
Need I say more?
So my cake didn't show up. You know, they went to the grocery store and got a cake. It was so ugly, but it was like so perfect. Like just perfectly imperfect. And that's like the story of my life. It's so great.
Little imperfections that actually make it the perfect day ever.
So small.
Yep.
It's the best.
I love it. You're incredible. All the things you do are incredible. I can't wait to continue to learn from you. I can't wait for my community to continue to learn from you. So thank you for sharing your story and also just like good and bad, like hard to talk about, but like I life. Know that it's life and people are going to hear you and be like, thank you for sharing that. So thank you for sharing that.
Of course.
Crew, another episode, another Monday. You know, I love it. I'm always coming to your ears. If you ever have any advice that you need, in my link in bio, there's a free community called Dear Wealthy. And it's like the entry level of the wealthy circle. If you want any advice, anything, you have to be in that community. Period. End of story. That's where I'll see it. That's where all my girls can write back to you and anybody can give advice on it. So if you ever need anything, let me know it there because that's your safe space. Otherwise, join me in the wealthy circle because shit's going down. It's happening. It's finally moving along like how I want it to move along, which is a blessing. And I'm just doing one foot in front of the other. Learn from the best. Learn from the best. I appreciate you all. Find me on Instagram and TikTok. Well said, Sid. And I'm happy to be back. Happy to be in your ears. And I loves ya.
Bye.
Bye.